Hey Leo, welcome to the month of November. We are almost through 2022 and we are certainly ending things off on a bit of a high note with the eclipses. We also have some planets going retrograde, or rather planets going direct after being retrograde. So there's a lot of catch up that has been happening over the month of October, and this will continue to happen, especially in the beginning of November. So if you're feeling kind of drained or a little fried, we did have the solar eclipse on October 25th, and that's something that's pretty expected. Honestly, you are ruled by the sun, so whatever happens with the sun astrologically affects you a lot more than everyone else. Especially if you are a Leo rising. So just kind of keep that in mind. And really, when I was connecting with your energy, Leo, I was like really finicky with the lighting. I wanted it to look nice and warm because I'm very pale. And I was also feeling like I wanted a nice cup of tea, so I made myself some ginger tea. And I kind of realized as I'm doing all of this, wait a minute. Leo is really wanting to be comfy and cozy and at home right now. And that makes perfect sense because we are in Scorpio season. So you might be dealing with this intensity by trying to get really comfortable and trying to feel at home in a way. That might actually be something that is helpful for you if you are feeling overwhelmed energetically right now. Or maybe there's even been changes to your home environment. Maybe there have been changes in your family recently. These are things that could be coming up as well with the eclipse that we had on the 25th. And of course, we have another eclipse on November 8th, so there's more to come. I actually do have a sale on my website through this eclipse season, through November 8th. So if you are interested in a personal reading or distance Reiki session, now is an excellent time to book that. I would love to work with all of you. And yeah, I think it's just a really nice time of year to kind of look ahead and see what we need to finish up before we enter the next year. And that's really what this month is about. So connecting with you, feeling like you want to feel at home and recharge, I actually feel like your energy is going to be a bit all over the place this month, Leo. We do have the hummingbird and firefly that came out for you as I was tuning in with your energy, really figuring out what energies you are embodying this month. And with the hummingbird energy, it's like a very high energy and also firefly. But with firefly, it's like you might burn out. Like you could burn hot and then just suddenly need to go home and recharge. That's sort of what I'm seeing. Your energy feels inconsistent. And I also do notice the bear at the bottom of the deck here as well, which can kind of signify this coming out of hibernation. But really, we are at least in the northern hemisphere, entering into the autumn. We're already in autumn. We're approaching the winter months. So some of you are kind of nesting. You're getting ready for winter. You're getting ready to slow down. And maybe that's why your energy's a little scattered and all over the place. For some reason, I'm feeling like this group is also really affected by things like daylight savings time. I know in the US, we are doing our last daylight savings time. We are falling behind one more time. And I never even know, like, is that when daylight savings time begins? Is that when it ends? Someone in the comment section, please correct me if I am wrong here. But with daylight savings time ending, I think it's ending. I think it's over. There could just be some sort of sensitivity that is disruptive to you there as well. And again, kind of on theme for you, Leo, because you are ruled by the sun. So you are sensitive to the number of hours that we have the sun, we have daylight. So that's kind of interesting. I do also feel like a lot of you are feeling very creatively inspired this month as well, because both the firefly and hummingbird really does have this creative energy to me. The firefly is like divinely inspired ideas and intuitions. The hummingbird is also about finding sweetness in life, finding the things that help us maintain a high frequency energy. And I feel like it's also really important that you take care of your diet and you're very mindful of what it is that you're putting into your body this month. Because again, it's like some of you are eating foods that are really slowing you down, and then you're drinking a lot of coffee or caffeine and then burning yourself out. No shade if that's you. I definitely have like my own health journey. I try to be healthy, but there are ebbs and flows in that myself. So if that sounds like you, that should be something you are mindful of. Your energy again does feel a little up and down. So that's something to kind of consider maybe when you're making plans. Give yourself some extra time. Don't rush through this month because you might be burning yourself out unintentionally. I do also want to tell you to pay attention to your dreams, especially with the firefly energy here, because when we see the firefly, it's like this beautiful spark, this vivid moment of insight or recollection or a new idea. And we are tempted to think that, oh, I'm going to remember this. There's no way I'm going to forget this dream. And then the moment you kind of get out of your bed and go down the hallway, it's like half that dream is already gone. So keep a dream journal by your bed. I do feel like for this group, there are a lot of messages that are coming in your dreams this month as well. And I know that's a message I kind of talk about a lot, but I do dream work a lot myself. So it is something I'm pretty passionate about. And maybe this month you are really feeling something about dream work. And like the bear energy too, kind of like coming out of hibernation, going into hibernation. There's just something with sleep that feels really important, also with these up and down energy levels. So might be something to pay attention to. Anyways, I'm curious to see what we have in store for you with the tarot. First card we have right out the gate is Death. And reminds me of that new moon eclipse we were talking about at the beginning on October 25th. And we are in Scorpio season, which is the Death card. It represents Scorpio energy. There have definitely been some endings. There have been some things that you have had to let go of. And there's a transformation that is taking place with the Two of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck here, just popping right out, this butterfly imagery. Something is changing, and this could be a change with work or with home. Again, there's a lot of focus on home for you in Scorpio season, so I'm almost more tempted to say there could be something that is being adjusted or shifting in your home or family. And overall, there is just this letting go. There's this releasing. There is an ending. What else do we have for Scorpio? Let's clarify this. What have we been learning? We have the Ace of Swords, and this is very similar to the Firefly energy. You might have been having insights, you might have been having moments or flashes of interconnectedness, and then it kind of fades, and you are left wondering, wait, did I just imagine that? We have the Sun at the bottom of the deck too. Again, your energy. Moments of clarity. I really feel like things that are not working for you. You might be being reminded of these things as well. I'm also thinking, Leo, your energy might be a little all over the place because we do have Mars retrograde through the rest of the year. Mars is retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and that could potentially be doing some screwy things to your energy levels, and also maybe bringing up some conflict or tension in your social groups or social networks, because that is what Gemini represents to you. So that might be something to kind of keep in mind. Like, you might be feeling really sensitive to other people's energy. You might be feeling like you're being attacked. You could be being attacked in some way. There could just be some sort of weird tension when it comes to you in social settings. And you might be needing to spend some more alone time to really reconnect. And maybe kind of par down some of your social obligations, especially as we are getting towards the holiday seasons. It could be really easy to overextend yourself. What else do we have for Scorpio for the month of November? And even in this reading, I feel like I'm I'm starting and stopping a lot. Starping. And that kind of feels consistent with the energy I'm picking up for you, actually. I really do pay attention to how I'm feeling when I'm doing these readings, because in my body, I will get these sort of impressions and sensations and just kind of act differently for the different signs. So I do feel like there's sort of this scattato thing with you this month. The Tower. Interesting. There are some major endings and transformations that are happening this month. And it's almost like if there's been something that you have been delaying, an ending that you have just been like, nope, don't want to do that. I'm going to keep trying to make something work. Again, there's like another hit of the wrecking ball here. And like, we all have free will. Ultimately, the universe can't just eject you out of a situation. I mean, sometimes it can, but more often than not, we have the free will to stay in situations even if they aren't working for us. And I'm honestly kind of getting that with this group. This could be involving relationships, very close relationships, particularly with Saturn in Aquarius, your opposite sign. You are finishing up cycles when it comes to relationships and partnerships. You might be healing the way that you approach relationships. And again, like, I know that's kind of been the theme. I kind of sound like a broken record at this point, but that really has been hugely thematic, not only for 2022, but actually for the past few years, and really figuring out what relationships work for you in the long term. So there could be something where you are wrapping up a cycle here. I'm just getting major endings, and it's like you almost know it's coming with these sort of bolts of lightning. Like you have sensed something is changing. You have sensed there is going to be this disruption or this disturbance in some way, especially with the death card. But it's almost like, oh, maybe this won't happen. Maybe this can work. Maybe there is something that's still happening here. And then boom, we have the tower. Lightning strikes. This is the beginning of a wildfire. And while that may seem kind of scary, I really actually feel like it's necessary. You know, wildfires are so necessary for the health and life cycle of the forests very often that experience them. And specifically looking at this tree, this is a pine tree. And in certain parts of the world, pine trees actually reproduce by wildfire because the heat opens up these cones and it releases their seeds, and that's how they spread and germinate for the next season or the next cycle. So there is something right now where it's like a lot is being cleared out in your life. You are lightening the dense energy, you're letting go. Whenever I see hummingbird, it's also a message to travel light, to let go of heavy energy, and really find ways to connect to your spirit so you can maintain a high vibration, a high energy. And, you know, bear is kind of this slow, steady energy too. Like, there really is this, again, like, oscillation between heavy and light, fast and slow, high energy, low energy. That, like, there's a whole rhythm that is happening this month for you. And it's kind of like learning to move in accordance to this rhythm. And we have judgment. Wow. Whoa, Leo, there is some major, major stuff. I actually really want to clarify, what is all of this about? What is this major change? 10 of Pentacles, home and family stuff. It feels like there is something that is really just shaking you in the core of your foundation. And that could be involving home, that could be involving family, like that could be literal foundations, that could also be emotional or psychological foundations. When I really look at this 10 of Pentacles specifically, I always found it so interesting how the 10th pentacle is in the innermost pentacle here. And it really does speak to this abundance that the 10 of Pentacles often conveys, but also this inner feeling, this inner sense. Abundance has to be experienced from within. Stability has to be experienced from within. Wealth has to be experienced from within. Otherwise, you just get locked in this ravenous cycle of needing more and more, and you can make your stability come from external things and external conditions. And with the 10 of Pentacles, it really is like, yes, you can have all this abundance, but you also need to have the stability and security within yourself too. So major changes here. Let's kind of clarify this more. It almost feels like there's just so much of your life that's like suddenly changing with the Eight of Wands. There could be very sudden changes, very unexpected things, and that might also be why the energy is kind of oscillating a bit, and you might be really exhausted. So just keep that in mind. This month could be pretty unpredictable in a lot of ways. What else do we have? What else do we have for Leo? Let's clarify this a little more. 10 of Swords. Wow, yeah, major endings. There are some really big chapters that are closing for you, and it feels quite necessary. And at the same time, you are almost catapulting forward in a totally new direction. Like, your whole life could just suddenly change in the month of November. And it's almost like this happens so suddenly, it's not even devastating. Like, I see the Tower, I see Death, I see Judgment, I see the Ten of Swords. I'm honestly seeing some pretty heavy cards. I'm not gonna lie. Like, usually when I see those cards in a reading, it's like, this is some pretty heavy energy. But for some reason, Leo, I'm connecting with you, and it's almost like ripping off a band-aid really quickly. Like, something just happens so fast, you don't even necessarily have time to process it or to grieve something. And if it's not happening this month, I could also see this as you realizing how much has changed so quickly in your life, and you're just kind of looking back, and all of a sudden there's this kind of emotional whiplash, and all of these emotions are just coming up out of nowhere, seemingly. um and these are general readings. It's all going to play out for each of you differently, because you're all in different places as you're watching this. So keep that in mind. Some of you could be at this point where in November you are feeling all of these changes that happened so quick that you didn't really get to process them. Others of you are going to be experiencing very rapid changes, and it might be a while before you can even process it. But I do feel like you are being catapulted into a very exciting new direction with the Eight of Wands. So it really does feel like you're just being catapulted into a new life. Like, your life can change so suddenly. And even getting kind of philosophical with the Death card and the Scorpio season that we are in, it really is just like kind of that cliche, like when someone dies or something ends, you just realize how quickly things can change and how quickly things can end. And there's almost that sense of mortality or finiteness with this group. Really interesting energy. What else do we have? We have the Nine of Pentacles. I will say, like, if there is something that makes you feel financially insecure, I actually think you will have stability by the end of this month, or you will be moving in a direction that is abundant and stable. So it feels like emotionally, there's actually a lot of things that are changing and rupturing for you. And I feel like it's sort of been patterns and themes that have already occurred in your life, and you might have thought you were finished with certain patterns or themes, and then it's like, oh, I'm actually getting the sense that some of you are being triggered. Some of you are triggered this month, and it's almost like this opportunity to heal. And you might have thought you were done, to be honest. But you do feel stable. You do feel really abundant. And it's almost like finding your stability as your world is quaking. And I feel like every month I talk about the yearly horoscopes that I did for 2022. I'm kind of thinking of that again, because I just remember for Leos, like especially Leo rising, this year really could feel like there's just all of this pressure that is coming down on you. And I kind of remember writing, like, even though it feels like there's the weight of the world on your shoulders, it's also the pressure that turns coal into diamonds, and you're being transformed here. And I'm really getting this like crescendo this month. It's like a lot of these themes that you've been exploring over the past year are like very in your face. They're very like close to you. But it's ultimately making you a more stable person. What else do we have? What else do we have? It just feels kind of silly. Like, I feel like I just sort of dropped a bombshell, and like, what else do we have? I'm curious about relationships. I'm curious what's going on there for you. There could be some celebrations, actually, with the Four of Wands. And the Queen of Pentacles. Finding stable relationships. There could be something with marriage that is coming up for you, or thinking about marriage. Um, and kind of referencing the astrology, there could even be like, what are the traditions and expectations I have put on relationships that may not serve me anymore? What actually feels good to me in my relationships and connections with people? Or really the way I relate to the world at large. Like, what did I take on from childhood? What is the life that I actually want to live? How might I have been kind of going about things in a circular manner, in a roundabout way, to get my needs met and to get what I want, versus just doing the things and asking for the things that actually feel good. For some reason, that's what I'm getting with these cards. What else do we have for relationships? The Two of Wands. Some of you could be traveling with a partner. Some of you could be going away on holiday with a partner. You might be meeting their family. There could be something about a wedding or celebration that you are going to. And if you aren't in a relationship, this could be very much about meeting someone at a celebration too, and making a connection. I'm just getting something with travel. I'm getting something that feels kind of long distance, or like connecting with someone from a different part of the world than you, or a different culture. And that kind of makes sense because with Sagittarius season, that does affect your love life and your creativity. And Sagittarius is the sign of travel. It's the sign of distant horizons. And I feel like with your love life right now, like in the month of November, there is this something that is kind of drawing you elsewhere. And that could be a person, or it could just be you meeting someone from a different part of the world, especially an earth sign. Capricorn could also be Taurus or Virgo energy. And this could even be for December, like planning a trip in December. And I mean, we will have Venus and Mercury entering into Sagittarius by the end of this month, a new moon in the sign on the 23rd, and Venus and Mercury will be very close with this moon. And so this could be a time to just manifest more fun and excitement, and kind of a simple energy. Like the Queen of Pentacles really is this sweet, simple energy. And after like everything that has been going on this month, it's like, yes, I want more of this. I want more sweetness with the hummingbird. Finding the sweetness is really, really important. And finding that in healthy relationships seems really important too. What do we have for career and finances? What do we have for career and finances? Again, I do feel like there is this abundance for you, but let's see if we can get a little clearer. Some of you might be leaving a situation behind with the Eight of Pentacles, or coming out of a hard period, especially with the Seven of Wands. I feel like a lot of you are coming out of survival mode, or you are figuring out how you can come out of survival mode, especially if finances have been something that has been challenging for you. You are coming out of a place where you have felt just like you're sort of holding your own. And you know, I feel like budgeting is something that could potentially be important. Kind of thinking of the bear energy at the bottom of the animal deck too. Some of you are really going to be like kind of ending off this month after this sort of like rush of death, or like this really dramatic thing that happens this month, and you're like, I need to have more stability than this. I need to plan for the future more. I need to set something aside. I need to like find more stability. So that's interesting. Anything else for finances or for work? Five of Wands, again, kind of conflict. Maybe some of this conflict or this blow up is happening in your workplace. And it's almost like the last straw. Like, yeah, I'm not sticking by this anymore. I'm done feeling like I need to put my armor on to go into work. And that could be the decision you're finally making, and you're choosing this comfort. You are choosing something different. And that might actually be why this Tower card and the Death card and Judgment and even the Ten of Swords, all of this didn't make me feel like dread. It might actually be you, Leo, that is deciding, I am done. I'm done. And you're sort of accepting your limits and you're realizing you have pushed your limits. And even if there have been people who have pushed you, I also feel like, Leo, you're kind of realizing how you might have allowed yourself to be pushed. And so boundaries are really, really important here as well. And that might be kind of the last lesson about relationships for you and partnerships. It's like learning how to have boundaries, learning what it is that you need. Because a lot of the time people think of boundaries as walls, like, oh, this is a boundary, don't cross this. Boundaries aren't meant to keep people out. Emotional boundaries help bring people closer together. And so don't be afraid to have boundaries in relationships and in any part of your life. Because when your needs are being met, that is when you can be close with someone. That is when you are healthiest. And it just flows and it just makes sense. And I feel like you are actually standing up for yourself in a way. And it's not even standing up like in a dramatic way, like blowing up on people or just like kind of making a statement about it. It's almost like you're just leaving. It feels kind of like Irish goodbye, like, okay, I'm done, bye. And it's almost like your silence, your absence speaks louder than your words, which is interesting. And that could be involving a friendship circle too, because kind of thinking of the Mars and Gemini energy, but it's almost like work friends is actually what I'm getting. People people you network with, social media. You might be taking a break from social media as well. You're just done with drama. I think by the end of this month, you are so over the drama. You are so over the highs and lows. And it's like, where can I find my stability and equilibrium? And when I look at the bear, I really do think of like mastering the different seasons and knowing that the external environment is always changing and shifting. Bears always adapt. They'll hibernate through the winter. They will find different food sources based on what's available. They really use each season to the fullest, and you are learning to kind of moderate in that way too. You are learning where to find your energy and life force and how to sustain that in the month of November. And finding the right people to do that with. And some of you could even be moving. And maybe this is part of this new beginning as well. Some of you could be literally getting up and moving with the Eight of Cups. That could also be accompanied with a change in career. And again, the full moon eclipse in Taurus does affect career stuff. So I'm kind of feeling like there is this change with work or career that is finally taking place. And it feels much needed. And, don't let money be the thing that is keeping you in a situation. Don't let scarcity and the fear of poverty, because I really do feel like you are going to find abundance and security elsewhere. And those are all the messages I have for you this month, Leo. I hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below what changes are going on. Seems like there's a lot. Again, I do have a sale on my website. You can book. You can find all my information down below. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Leo.